Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Gut Vacation. I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
And we're going to slowly fade the music. All right. Let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So today we're going to move through a few items. We're going to start with our why stories. Why the heck are we here and what brought Ben and I together? Who Gut Vacation is for and 3 reasons to join. We'll go share some exciting stories from past participants. That's what I'm most excited about. And the structure of the program. All right.
All right. So this is one of my favorite pictures in the world. That is a picture of me and my dad. I'm probably about 3 or 4 years old. And I chose this picture to share with this story because I think it really captures how my dad and I felt about each other. We had a really, really special relationship. And it was 7 years ago that my father passed away from colon cancer, kind of all of a sudden. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I quickly learned there was only 4 stages, so that meant it was bad. And I also learned that colon cancer had occurred twice for my grandma, and that my great-grandfather had passed away from it. So I was keenly aware that gut health was going to be an issue in my life, and was something that I really, really needed to learn more about. And as I went down that journey, kind of dealing with my grief, trying to understand what happened and how did this happen, but also wanting to do something about it for myself. My awareness expanded and my mind was kind of blown. I started to recognize that there was hardly a client I had worked with over the last 13 years that wasn't dealing with some degree of gut issue, in all the forms that it can appear. So I've spent the last 7 years really focused on this area, fascinated with it, both as a student and as a coach. And I recently graduated from the Institute for Functional Medicine, their health coaching program, because I really wanted to dig more deeply into this. And it was a happy coincidence. I'd been doing some work with Brian as a client of his, doing some of my own emotional integration work and dealing with my own adult life stuff. As I was working with clients on the gut health side, and I realized, God, I really want to work with Brian on this, because what kept coming up was all these layers. It wasn't just about food. There were so many layers here. And so that inevitably led me to get in touch with him. And then sure enough, I found out that fit, lean, healthy, vibrant Brian also had some gut challenges too. So I was not alone and my clients were not alone. So I'll segue over to Brian. Tell us how you got involved.
Yeah, so in July, I got back from Costa Rica with a fungus. And I was working with Ben, around that time. I do relationship coaching and emotional integration companioning. And I had this fungus that would take away the pigment of my skin. And I was prescribed antibiotics in Costa Rica. And then I found out that you could actually starve the fungus just by changing what you ate. And I've always been a person who eats whatever I want, whenever I want. And so for the very first time in my life, I started eating with purpose, and the fungus cleared up within 30 days. It was amazing to witness the power of that. So for me, then I started hearing about some of Ben's client success stories of people he'd been leading through this program. And I saw the value of the emotional side as well. And so we started working on Gut Vacation because we're both actually super passionate about eliminating unnecessary suffering. And once you have some of this knowledge, you see how clearly, wow, we seriously, with the right information, with the right opportunity, we can really help people. And that's why I'm so excited about the testimonials as well. Let's mute Anne. There we go. Okay, so I think that's all of my story. Is that right, Ben? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think we got the gist. Gut has played a pivotal role in both our lives, and it's the reason we've come together, and it's the reason we're here today. And recently, Brian and I did our first collaboration, putting a group of people that we cared about through the Gut Vacation process, which is essentially a Institute of Functional Medicine protocol that we kind of modified and updated. And so we want to share with you, why the heck might you do this, and what are some of the benefits, and why did some of our clients participate?
Yeah, so we've got 3 core reasons to join, but also like really who this is for. When we looked at who joined and got a lot out of it, there were 3 core things. So one huge piece was people want to get to know their body better, learn like what my body actually needs to function optimally. And I put in this little picture here because it shows that there's an optimal amount of stress in any kind of change or peak performance. And I remember this from Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl as well. He talked about actually we don't want to live in a stressless state. There's obviously a window of tolerance, but this is the space of opportunity that we get to watch clients transform in. Number 2, empower. So want to speak to that, Ben?
Yeah, I will. Brian and I, if you followed any of our content, we've talked a lot about the normalization of illness, right? Where illness and aging have kind of become the same thing. We just expect that, you're getting older, so you must be getting sicker, or those are the same things. And I think we've also normalized exhaustion, right? There's a lot of us that are tired, and we're not in that optimal stress space. We're in this chronic stress or distress zone. And it just does not have to be that way. So one of the things that happens when you get to know your body better, figure out what it needs and how to communicate with it, it's a very empowering experience to have more energy, to be able to feel how you're responding to food, to be able to be in touch with what exercise you need, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. Those kind of intuitive capacities are a huge capacity or a function of the gut and the gut brain. So that's one of the things that people got from the course. One of the things we're going to teach you should you join us.
And lastly, to tie in the empower and the experiment, what I heard from people was like, oh, what made this different was we're not telling you what to do. We're presenting, what the functional, am I getting this from Functional Institute of Medicine?
That's right.
Jumbling up the words, present, and you get to see how am I relating to this protocol, right? So that's what this amazing curiosity, what we wanted to bring with Gut Vacation was like play with and discover your actual optimal lifestyle. So we didn't come at it from this place of like restriction, diet culture, of like good, bad, right or wrong. Actually, we're helping eliminate shame and guilt around food, which you'll see in the next couple slides as well.
Yeah, we want to get away from this like obedience where I'm on a diet or I'm off a diet and I've crashed. We wanted to get to this place where the discovery of your health and the relationship with your body can be a really exciting journey. And it doesn't have to be about right, wrong, good, bad foods, but more that adventure of discovering what you need and having some guidance to do that. So within the framework of a medical protocol, we created this room and space for play and experimentation.
And so Jocelyn here, she also said that this was a container for self-discovery. But Ben, do you want to read through this?
Yeah, I'll read this. So this is a good friend of mine, one of my clients. She joined us for the program. She's an artist, really cool person. So in her words, I've always attributed a lot of my symptoms to things that were happening outside of me and not necessarily what am I putting in my body that could be affecting my mood or exhaustion. I read until I'm blue in the face about these superfoods or ways to address your mental health through food. But until I experienced it and had the dedicated support of the group, was I able to embody what I had always envisioned for myself. So Jocelyn deals with autoimmunity. She's a lifelong soccer athlete, but it was really, I think a lot of us feel this way, don't we? Like you hear this, you catch a video, you read an article, but you don't necessarily feel like you can put it all together. And for her, it was in the group, the container of the group. So not just us as instructors and coaches, but also the horizontal interactions between the other students or members, where there's a lot of learning and discovery there that kind of finally put some of the pieces together for her. Really cool.
Yeah, so it's an experience. I was touched by it.
Yeah.
So number 2, second reason and who this is for is people want to transform their relationship with food. And this was actually kind of an unexpected outcome, I think, for a lot of people, like including maybe yourself, Ben.
It totally was. It was. I mean, well, I'll share my story a little bit more, but yeah.
Yeah. So we bring a mindset of curiosity, right? The whole thing is about self-discovery. It's about eliminating guilt and shame, actually. And we all have our own patterns and our own childhood upbringing that's programmed us in certain ways. And so I remember like just seeing people with that inner curiosity, you know, that intention going inward, being like, yeah, here's how I'm experiencing this, and here's how I'm feeling about that. So curiosity is a superpower.
Without a doubt. So then we had vision. I love this saying, get healthy on purpose, align your actions with who you want to be. So I think, I mean, you can't get anywhere without a vision of where you're headed, right? If I couldn't picture the gym I'm headed to and the route I'm going to take, I'm dead in the water. I can't even get started. So one of the things that we really focus on is giving you the tools and the reference points to create a clear vision. What do I want for my health? Somebody might want to run an Ironman. Someone else might just want to be in less pain. We can help you clarify that and really get crystal on what it's going to take.
And so, you know, the group provides an interesting kind of accountability, but it's accountability to yourself, really, not just to them, right? And so there's this freedom that's cultivated as we start to change our habits, because that's what I also got to see more clearly myself, but also through the group, was when we stop self-medicating through going to food to relieve myself or of whatever my pattern is, then that's when the stuff starts coming up, right? Different emotions or different things like this. And so we're really cultivating this space where I get to more consciously choose what I value in my life. So I'm not just in reaction all the time.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to share my quick story here.
Great.
I've spent like 20 years of my life telling myself and other people, and some of my clients will recognize this, that I have a problem with sugar. That's right. I have a problem with sugar, right? And so, you know, I've been a personal trainer for 13 years. You know, I graduated from the Institute 2 years ago. And, you know, I've got lots of information, lots of skills, but I still had this problem with sugar. It was not until I participated in the group, even as a coach, that I suddenly realized I was able to create enough space between what I was feeling and my instant reactions to go grab a cookie or whatever I was going to do. And I realized I wasn't having a problem with sugar. I was actually having challenge where there was unmet feelings, unmet challenges or questions in my mind, that I was using sugar as a way to kind of control my state. And I'd never seen it that way. And maybe I'm saying that and it doesn't quite resonate. And maybe you have to be in the group to connect with that. But you know, you might be using a coffee or a cig or a glass of wine. We all have these very subtle and kind of brilliant ways that we manage our stress and deal with a sometimes overwhelming world that we're in. And so there's just this magic happened in the group that I was able to see that challenge, that problem with sugar, in a totally new light. And I'm addressing that in a new way, because now I don't just have a need and then an instant reaction. I have a need and a little bit of space, observation. Oh, I notice that I'm feeling this. And that's all the gap that I've ever needed to make some big changes. It's been so liberating to not have like this sugar boogeyman, and instead just be working on me and my inner dialogue. So I don't know if that came across, but man, did it ever change my life.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch Ben have that realization actually in the program. And I got to see what Ben's talking about is the container that we hold is similar to that of going to the gym. It's like I go to the gym for a purpose, to work out, right? And so here there's a special container for me to see what my relationship with food could be, right? And so we need these spaces. And this is something Jocelyn, that last testimonial, talked about just to me personally, was that space. And so we got another one here from Anona.
So I love Anona. So it's like you're meeting yourself for the first time again. It's a personal discovery program where I was accepted as I was and also held as the highest version of myself. It was never about restriction. It was about optimizing how much I could fully show up in my life. I feel more rich because I'm actually eating without guilt. And I feel like this just nails what we're sharing. We're not just obsessed with, you know, you've got to hit this many calories, or you can only eat that food, or you're not allowed to have this, where there's so much guilt and shame. Even my experience sometimes going through the grocery store, I walk by the bakery section and I'm like looking at the corner of my eye at the cookies, like there's these sinful things that I have to, have this inner battle with. And we were able to really remove all that and create, like we talked about previously, the curiosity and the safety, where you could just observe what the heck was going on and then use more intellect and less reaction. And then the leverage of the group.
Yeah, so leverage of the group is having fun along the way, right? And so let's dive into the 3 here. So sharing, Ben, you said surprise yourself as a leader and a student. I love this.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Brian and I both we were well prepared. We knew what we wanted to share in each of the group coaching sessions. We had a vision for where the course was going to go, but we were still surprised at how much value came from the group itself, how many horizontal interactions were, whether it was just sharing a clever recipe, or I can think of a couple moments where Brian and I were really touched where, one of the people in the group was having a tough time. They'd been discouraged, and some of those emotions were coming up. Some of those patterns were wanting to resurface. I'll just have that glass of wine, or I'll just have that bit of gluten, whatever it was. And it was actually the group members that supported one another, whether it was via text or live on the coaching sessions. It was astonishing to see how valuable the group was to each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's this relatability, right? As we're going along on our journeys, the value of community and seeing the value of our own stories and the impact as we're witnessed. It's this experience that you have to have, and I'm having it in myself in a expressive writing group in a different way, but it's the same kind of experience where being seen really matters.
Yeah, I think that I know in my experience, there's a lot of guilt and shame. I'm lazy. Why can't I kick the sugar habit? Why do I suck so bad? And to see other people going through similar things, it can take
normalizes it
off,
it
right?
normalizes it.
Oh, I'm not a wreck. Everyone is dealing with this, and we just need some help. And it gives a new sense of compassion for yourself. And then, yeah, it's a place to transform. Tell me about this one, Brian. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, we ended up seeing, what I was amazed by was, even when stuff started coming up for people, and it wasn't at different times in the journey, I had several people say that I feel so good, I'm still choosing this stuff and I don't want to go back. And that's when we witnessed there's this identity change that happened. I'm fundamentally a different person who's healthy, knows what healthy feels like, and I just want to keep choosing more of that. And I think our next couple speak to that a little bit more. Do you want to say anything else in this before we go to those?
I do, because that one's just so profound to me as well. When we traditionally, like, someone comes to me and I'll see a client, they say, I'm doing keto. You go, oh, great.
Right.
I'm doing intermittent fasting. Oh, wonderful. Or I'm doing, whatever it is. It's a behavior that we do. Like, it's like this temporary thing, right? It's the same as like the smoker saying, I'm quitting smoking, right? That's different than having an identity shift where it's not just a thing you're doing, but a thing you've become. And, we were all taken aback. Elements of the elimination diet that we use and some of the protocols in the gut vacation are stringent. They're a big change from what you might be used to. So it's really quite amazing to see people after the protocol's done say, I feel so good, I'm going to choose this, because it's not just another thing that I'm doing. It's a way I've decided to be.
And this is Tasha's testimonial here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do this one as well.
Right.
So this speaks to this. I already ate pretty clean. So to be honest, I wasn't expecting a lot to change, but I was blown away. The brain fog I'd been experiencing for the past 15 years, it was gone. Gut vacation solidified my desire to be more active and overall to promote a healthier lifestyle to myself. If someone's motivated enough to make a change, even if it's just for 3 weeks, I think the changes in how they feel would make them want to continue.
Thank you, Tasha. And then our last one before we go to what the vacation is going to be like. It's a beast here. I mean, this is Susan. This is someone who suffered from severe IBS, had tried everything, terrible sleeps for 15 plus years. She said as well, would wake up every night. She's tried homeopathic remedies, everything to no avail. And to witness Susan smile and see the glowing new her, because she was a client of mine before for like 6-8 months before, and to witness this brand new human being that I barely even knew was suffering in the way that she was, because you suffer in silence when you've got stuff like IBS, right? And to watch her be this brand new person, like she talks about, cookies lost their appeal. It's like a smoker giving up cigarettes. I'm not as irritable. Like everything changed for Susan. Yours was like the all-in-one encompassing testimonial. And that's when I was like super touched, because I can't help but want to help get this to other people in her similar position, right? And you don't have to be suffering with IBS to still benefit, as we saw from Tasha and Jocelyn and Anona, but especially for people in this position, it's like night and day. You get to enjoy life, right? All right. So vacation plan.
Let's do it.
We're going on a vacation.
Yeah, so let's talk about
Vacation from inflammation.
What does this thing really entail? So we've talked about it. It sounds like so far, if you're on the video, you're going, okay, it sounds like other people really liked it. It sounds like there's some fun here. It sounds like there's a community, there's support. But what does this really, really entail? So let's break that down a little bit.
So it goes over 4 weeks. It's 8 group coaching sessions. They're at 5:45 p.m. Eastern at night for an hour, Mondays and Thursdays. That's the logistical piece of it. And then what's included?
So the first thing is the protocol within the program is, like we said, from the Institute for Functional Medicine. So there's going to be specific foods that you're not eating, because the whole idea here is, the big idea, the reason we even use the protocol in the first place, is that there's this issue of chronic inflammation. So many of us are dealing with, okay? And the root cause for a lot of us is leaky gut syndrome. Now, there's 2 ways you can deal with leaky gut. You can get leaky gut, can be what we call top down, which is when you're having mental, psychological stress, stress from work, stress from relationships, and it's actually creating the conditions for leaky gut in your body. Or it can be bottom up, where you're not necessarily knowing what your body needs, or your body's needs have changed over time, and you're putting in foods that are agitating it, okay? And inevitably you're getting stuck in a leaky gut or inflammation cycle. And so what we do in the protocol is we say, great, we're going to take out all these foods that might be causing inflammation, and we're going to give you a chance to heal and take a break. And then we're also going to introduce some of these other qualities, a great probiotic, some vitamin D, some of these other resources, so your body can have all the resources it needs to heal. When we have a healthy gut environment, okay, we have a healthy brain, we have a healthy metabolism, we have a healthy you, okay? So, you're going to have the framework really clear and articulated. These are the foods we're going to remove, right? Some of the obvious ones, it's going to be things like gluten, alcohol's on there, caffeine. And then here's some of the things we're going to introduce. But we also, underlying that, sometimes we say, yeah, we're going to take coffee out. And people go, oh my God, I know I want to get healthier, but could I really imagine myself doing that? And, the biggest thing here, like we talked about earlier, is it's agency. So your vacation is yours. And that's why we use that metaphor. Everyone's going to have a different vacation. I've had some people that they said, well, okay, I'm not going to have coffee, but I'm going to have green tea. Fine. Right. Or whatever those modifications are. So we give you the tools and the framework to decide just exactly what you're going to include and what you're not. We give you the resources so your body can heal and the inflammation can come down. You can start to feel yourself again. And then of course, there's the daily personal community support. So every single day, whether it's one-on-one with Brian or one-on-one with another, Brian or myself, one-on-one with another member in the group, or in the community calls, there's loads of support at every layer and each day as you go through the process. How am I doing, Brian?
I just thought of Susan as you're talking about giving up coffee. We shot a video on this, and she's like, you think you love coffee? She takes coffee to the next level.
She was like,
to the next level. And for her to say, I'm not going back, because I feel so good, was just like mind blowing to me. And you can go back, right? It's not to say that you can't or shouldn't, but it's just amazing to watch that transformation. I was touched by that.
Yeah, it's really, really special. So for 3 weeks, that's what it boils down to. We spend a week preparing, just kind of like you're heading out to a vacation. We get, we take a look at your strengths. We get you all prepared. We get your bags packed, your metaphorical bags packed. And then it's 3 weeks of eating really thoughtfully, eating on purpose, right? With the support entailed. And then once that process is done, it's at your discretion what foods are reintroduced and what your health lifestyle looks like, but it's on purpose instead of by accident.
Absolutely. You nailed it. Okay, so the next vacation coming up is November 15th. So we're inviting you with your ticket to the next gut vacation. And anything else we want to say to wrap up?
Well, I think the next step, if you're curious, right? If you're like, gosh, you know what? I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I could give up coffee. I don't know about those probiotics, whatever, might be coming up for you. All that really needs to happen is let's take this little bit of information, whatever piece intrigued you. I'd put this question to you. What did you like best about this presentation? What piece of it you went, wow, you know what, that's interesting. Or gosh, I sure would like that. Or man, I could really relate to that testimony. Whatever that was for you, send us an email, gutvacation@gmail.com, and we'll just set up a brief call because now it's time to get personal. Everyone's got a different experience. Everyone's got a different need. Everyone's got a different goal. So we'll get on a call, either myself or with Brian, and we'll just have that chat for 10 or 15 minutes and get personal with what you need, what your vision is, what some of your questions or doubts might be, and just see if the thing is right for you. So if you grab something there that you were intrigued with, or you're a little curious, shoot us an email. We'd love to kind of take the conversation to the next step. Or if you thought of someone like, gosh, I know my aunt would really love this, be in touch with us and we can make this thing personal, tailored, and dialed in and see if it really is a great fit for you.
Well said, Ben. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Take care. Stay healthy. We'll talk soon.